Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Yearone Racing TV and the third edition of the PDC Racing Partners and Relatives Sunday Special Races. We've had a couple of these already over the last month or so, and each of them has been thoroughly entertaining. It's a really fun format and a great chance for some drivers who not have that much either iRacing experience or indeed racing experience in general to get behind the wheel of their sim rigs and have a bit of fun in some light-hearted competition. And this week we're bringing the action to you from the Snetterton 200 circuit based down in the southeast of the United Kingdom. We've got a nice grid of drivers, about 13 drivers are entered into today's races, and there will be two races for you as well, a slight change to the format from the one race format that we've had in the past. We now have a heat and then a feature race, both of 10 minutes in length. No championship points though, no prizes on the line. It's all just about having a laugh and gaining some experience. We saw in the last couple of Sunday specials that we've done quite a few drivers who showed some real potential and that we may well see with a bit more practice at least appearing on the grid, perhaps in the main PDC Racing League in the future, or maybe in other forms of esports action as well. My name is Andy McEwen, up here in the comms box, overlooking all of the action, and plenty of action there should be as well. The last Sunday special that we did at Lime Rock Park a couple of weeks ago was very eventful indeed, as you'd expect, really, with a grid of drivers who are not that experienced with this whole thing, and sim racing is a fine art. It's something that takes months and months, if not really years and years of practice to properly get right, and some of these drivers today will be competing in their first ever sim race, and they're doing it under our watchful eyes, so no pressure at all. But yeah, as you can expect, a couple of them may make mistakes along the way, but the racing action will be as close as we've grown accustomed to with these Skip Barber cars that are also used in the main PDC Racing League, a racing league that will come to its conclusion for its second season night here on Yearone Racing TV. Definitely want to make sure you tune in for that, because the championship is going well and truly down to the wire in the PDC Racing League. These are the same cars that are used in that championship, and most of these drivers are relatives or friends of regular PDC competitors. So we've got fathers, mothers, we've got sons, we've got family members and friends of all sorts, really, taking to the track here. So many of the names will be familiar to you, but it might not be the same member of the family that we're used to seeing in the PDC Racing League. For example, Alex Knox here we're following in the Triple Eight car. He is the father of Chris Knox, who's one of our championship contenders in the PDC Racing League. Alex, though, is a former Formula Ford 1600 racer, and he almost T-boned Jessica Wise there as she had a spin coming out of the bomb hole. But yeah, Chris, a handy peddler in single-seaters in the real world, and he has 100% podium record so far in the Sunday specials. He's had a podium in both of them so far, and in the first one, he actually set the fastest lap of the race as well. So Alex Knox, definitely going to be a contender for race wins this afternoon, I think. Just behind him is Claire Palser in the number 9 car. That is a car usually driven by Gavin Johnson in the PDC Racing League, and the reason for that is that Claire is Gavin's other half, and she once drove a PDC prepared Porsche 94 around Rockingham on a parade lap. These Sunday specials have very much been her first experience of racing, and she was pretty rapid last time. She got involved in a couple of skirmishes along the way, unfortunately, which very much kept her out of contention for the wins, but she has top 5 pace, and that's being demonstrated already in this practice session, which the drivers have been in for just over half an hour. They have a 40-minute practice session at the start of the afternoon, basically, to get themselves warmed up and familiarise themselves with the Snetterton 200 layout. We're on the shorter of the two main layouts here at Snetterton. It's pretty close to the original Snetterton layout before they added the 300 infield. So 40-minute practice session, and then straight in to a 10-minute or 7-lap race for heat number 1. Random grid, so there's no qualifying session to set the order for that race. Then another 5-minute warm-up session before the feature race, which will be another 10-minute race, that time featuring a full grid reversal. So whoever finishes last in the heat starts on pole for the feature. So that will guarantee us a pretty action-packed pair of races, I think, with random grids and limited practice time. But there are just under 5 minutes left in the practice session. Right now, it's Jake Wood who is the quickest, Martina Ward in second, Alex Knox third, Tony Hewitt fourth, Claire Palser rounding out the top five. This is Steele Regan, and Steele is eighth quickest at the moment in the session at the wheel of the number 60 car, and Steele is Phil Regan's son. Phil is a Year One Racing driver from various other series, and Steele is the youngest driver that we've got racing with us today. He is only 10 years of age. I was looking forward to seeing him go up against Callum Sharp, who is Ben Sharp's son. So a pair of regular Year One Racing drivers' sons would have been planned to be going head-to-head today. Unfortunately, Callum can't make it, but he is 7 years of age, so we could have had two real youngsters on the grid together, but we'll be interested to see how Steele gets on here. We're running on board with him now through Rich's corner, quite tentative through that quick double apex right-hander, but it's a corner that even the pros get wrong pretty regularly. Then onto the brakes here into the Wilson hairpin. Bit of understeer there, and then instead of carrying on straight, we flick it straight back to the left onto the Bentley straight, which was formerly known as the Revit straight. At the time, it was the longest straight in British motorsport. It's still one of the longest, and the speed really builds up to 100 miles an hour already here as we are about halfway down the straight. You can try and pick your braking zone now, somewhere just before the Snetterton Bridge, I'd imagine. Yeah, just there. Got up to about 110 miles an hour before hitting the brakes into Brundle. This is a really tricky corner. Braking on the turn, and then you've got to turn the car back the other way through Nelson. Takes quite a tight line out of Nelson so as not to run out onto the curb on the exit, and then through the bomb hole. Not quite flat through there, but I think these cars are capable of going flat out through that corner. Speed building again now up over 90 miles an hour into Coram, this corner that goes on and on and on forever and ever, and you've got to stay to the right because the next corner, the final turn, Murray's, comes up very, very quickly, and that's a sharp left-hander down to about 45 miles an hour through the apex there, and back along the start-finish straight. These 2-litre Skip Barber Formula cars accelerate quite nicely, actually, so the speed already picking up by the time he gets down towards the start-finish line. To Esther Quaitmere now then, who's heading through the bomb hole. Esther is down in 11th place right now in the number 33 car, partner of Pip Hammond. So Pip and Gavin Johnson, the two brains behind the PDC Racing League. They both have their other halves competing once again here at Snetterton. And I seem to recall the two of them found each other on track last time out at Lime Rock Park as well. Oh dear, Esther Quaitmere needs to find a way back onto the track there after a bit of a moment coming out of Murray's corner. That's what happens if you carry a bit too much speed into that left-hander. It's easy to run wide, and once you get on the grass, there is, of course, significantly less grip. Oh, no! Well, I said they found each other on track, and they've already done it again. That's Claire Palser, who came barrelling through Murray's and headbutts the front of the number 33 car of Esther Quaitmere. So, there we go. That was a bit prophetic, wasn't it? I kind of saw that one coming. Karen Blake here, another not a new face, I don't think, but a returning face. Number 27 driver comes through. I beg your pardon. This is the first time she's raced. I'm thrown by the fact that she was supposed to be carrying the number 1, but it's actually number 27 that Karen has on the side of her car. We really should know who Karen Blake is because she is the mother of Dan Blake, who is another one of our championship contenders in the PDC Racing League. That's not the ideal line out of the final corner. Oh, dear. That's a heavy shunt into the end of the pit wall, but Dan, I'm sure, is stood next to her, coaching her, and there are far worse people that you could have coaching you around a lap here because Dan Blake is a very, very rapid sim racer. He's the reigning PDC Racing League champion, actually, and has also got real-world experience in things like Mazda MX-5s and Hyundai Coupes. So Dan is a good mentor to have, and he'll be talking his mother, Karen, around the track here in her first ever sim race experience. So she's been doing a lot of practice though, and Dan reckons that she's pretty quick, but maybe a little bit accident prone at the moment is what we're seeing. She is 7th though, which isn't that bad. She's right in the middle of the field in amongst there's a little group actually of some of our female racers we've got racing with us here. Claire Palser 5th, Ellie Hansey 6th, Karen Blake 7th, and Leanne Morton in 8th position. It's actually pretty much a 50-50 split. In fact, I think the women might outnumber the men in today's race, so that could be quite an interesting little side battle between the two groups. Leanne Morton here we're following. She is in that group as well in the midfield in this practice session right now in 8th position. Number 92 car staying well out of the way of Martina Ward, one of our lady racers there going up the inside. Martina, that 23 car, one of the fastest drivers we've got, second quickest at the moment in the session. Martina Ward, checking flag out now, so she won't be able to improve any further, but she is the wife of David Ward, another one of our very, very quick PDC Racing League drivers, and Martina was very close to winning the last Sunday special before she had contact with a back marker whilst leading the way. Right then, no qualifying, we're straight into the race. Here's how they'll line up. Leanne Morton has got the pole position, actually, alongside Tony Hewitt on row 1. Karen Blake and Alex Knox are on row 2. Knox definitely should have the pace to challenge for the win here. So should Martina Ward from row 3 alongside Esther Quaitmere. Then it's Richard Toon and Steele Regan and Jessica Wise with Claire Palser rounding out the top 10. Then Naomi Best, Jake Wood and Ellie Hansey. So Jake Wood, who was quickest in the practice session, is all the way down in 12th on the grid, so keep an eye to the number 10 car a little bit further down the order. Next then are on 10 minutes of racing in the heat race here for the Sunday special of the PDC Racing League. Leanne Morton and Tony Hewitt on the front row of the grid. Lights go out, away they go. Good start made by both of them. Bad start further back, though. That is Jessica Wise, I think, who has stalled the car possibly and now gets going. Oh, and a big move made by Karen Blake there to the inside. She's in the pit lane exit as she tried to get up the inside of Leanne Morton, who got a good start and then must have missed a gear or something because she's been swamped by the time they reach Rich's corner. And Leanne Morton all the way down to 7th despite leading them off the line. There's a spin. Oh, and around into the barriers goes Esther Quaitmere. That's a heavy front end impact. And Quaitmere's at the back of the field. Martina Ward's got around, and there's Karen Blake as well, who is bouncing her way across the grass going through the Wilson hairpin. I was about to say the hairpin is often where things might go wrong, and that appears to be exactly what's happened. Replay here of some of the incidents at the start. And that was Ellie Hansey, unfortunately, in strife before she even really got through the first corner. So Ellie Hansey is not quite last, actually. She's just overtaken Esther Quaitmere, and that is what happened. But, oh, dearie me. Well, that was 10 out of 10 for style for Karen Blake, as she ran into the back of Martina Ward going into the hairpin and somersaulted away across the grass. And now you can see there, back to live pictures, Karen has continued on her way. Right then, back to the front. This is the fight for the race lead. The number 17 car, the orange and blue Fast Star liveried machine of Tony Hewitt, is leading the way, except his side. Oh, they've both gone off! Both of the top two are off through Murray's corner. Oh, dearie me, this is all going wrong. Off also has gone the 92 of Leanne Morton. There was someone else who'd spun to the right-hand side of the road. Was that Claire Palser that's had a moment? I think it might have been. Oh, there's number 60, Steele Regan, who's gone around. Leading is Jake Wood. Jake Wood, who started all the way down in 12th position, has got himself into the lead already. So the fastest driver from practice is out in front. And he probably didn't actually have to overtake that many drivers because they all started throwing themselves at the scenery right in front of him. Sideways in second is Leanne Morton. She was about 7th going in turn 1. What an up and down first lap she's had. Naomi Best is in 3rd. She has also stayed out of trouble to gain 8 positions into the top 3. Steele Regan in 4th position, the youngster, the 10-year-old, with a really good start. He's picked up 4 spots, and then rounding out the top 5 is Claire Palser, who also started at the back of the top 10. So, on board with Steele Regan then, in 4th position, and he's in the slipstream here of Naomi Best, and is now starting to sense a chance, maybe, to get on the podium here in his first sim race ever, the youngster, and he's closing on the brakes, and he gets into the back of her. Oh, and Naomi goes around. It was the tiniest of touches. I don't think he expected Naomi to brake so early going into Brundle, but you've got to be ready for that, and that's one of the things that he'll learn the more races that he does, and that's really the case for all of these drivers with little to no sim racing experience. It's one thing to be able to go out there in a private practice session and go quickly and start setting good lap times, but as soon as you're thrown into it with other drivers, especially with this random grid that we've got and a real mix of abilities out there, you've got to have your wits about you to avoid making contact with people. That contact has cost Naomi not just 1 place, but 2, and that spin will cost her even more because Claire Palser was only about 3 seconds behind. There goes Claire, threw up the inside into 5th position for Palser. So, Steele Regan went into 3rd. Martina Ward was the other beneficiary. She's into 4th position now. Then Claire Palser and Alex Knox, both recovering from first lap spins, but then there aren't many drivers, I don't think, who haven't had a spin already in this race. Into Riches they go. There's a car ahead of them, which possibly is Jessica Wise, which I think has just been in the pit lane. So Jessica rejoining the track after a pit lane visit, the fiancée of Ian Best, who finished 7th in the first Sunday special that we had, but with the 4th fastest lap. So, yeah, another driver that had top 5 pace, but maybe wasn't quite able to deliver it at the flag. Alex Knox, though, looks as though he is on a march to the front again here. He's in 6th position. He's closing on Claire Palter now, and he's just close enough, I think, to have a slipstream. There's side-by-side action up the road as well. Look, that was Steele Regan losing 3rd position to Martina Ward. So Martina Ward has gone through into 3rd, Regan down to 4th. And we'll pull up a replay of that in a moment or two, I think, to show you exactly how that happened. And there it is. Oh, they both caught Leanne Morton, and I wonder if maybe that held up Steele Regan. I bet that Steele braked a lot earlier into Brundle that time because he didn't want to run into the back of another car, and that probably was enough to allow Martina through. But Martina Ward is on a real mission here. She's lapping as quick as anybody else apart from the race leader Jake Wood, who's 18 seconds ahead of everybody else already. But Martina Ward is now on the tail of Leanne Morton as they come across the start-finish line. Leanne in that number 92 car, partner of Roger Morton, who had a 4th place finish in the first Sunday special. She's on the podium at the moment, though. Can she hold on from Martina? Takes the wider line into Rich's corner, tries to carry the speed off. Defensive line already being taken by Leanne Morton. She drives down the middle of the road into the hairpin, but that isn't really the quickest line into the corner, so you can see she washes out a bit wide through the apex. Then she's offline for the left-hander, and Martina Ward read that perfectly. Frees the speed off the left-hander down the Bentley straight, but now they're pretty even Stevens because neither driver has a slipstream from the other, and so it's now just a drag race. Who can have the cleanest gear changes? Who can keep the car in the straightest line down the back straight? Martina's got the inside line for the entry to the complex, but Leanne Morton could go around the outside. No, she backs out of it, so Martina into 2nd position. See from the attitude of that car that it is a lot more the turns, and that is of course where she's finding some of her lap time. So Martina gets herself back into the top 2 again, and Leanne Morton down to 3rd. Steele Regan there, you can see him 4th in that very well presented blue and grey car, number 60 machine. And Alex Knox is 4.1 seconds behind him and catching. So I think we're going to have Alex Knox challenging for a podium before the end of this race, because as we can see here, riding on board with Steele Regan in 4th, he's not that far behind Leanne Morton, and they're both being caught by Alex Knox behind them. So this is all starting to concertina together quite nicely. Down into Rich's corner then, up to about 115 miles an hour with a slipstream. Again, you can see Leanne taking these defensive lines when she probably doesn't need to. She's got enough of a cushion over Steele that I don't think she has to be driving that defensively. But of course, because she doesn't really have that much experience, the same for all of these drivers, it's something you have to learn over time. And you start to learn which drivers you have to defend a bit more heavily from, and none of them have any experience racing against Steele, so no one really knows how late on the brakes he's willing to be, how much of a risk he's willing to take to overtake. He's pulling up the inside now of Leanne Morton, and we can see there how much closer Chris Knox is getting. He's gained about 2 seconds in half a lap. Down into the Brundle and Nelson they go, then Regan on the inside, Morton on the outside, but again, Steele early on the brakes into Brundle. That's really been his weak spot. I think he's maybe just conscious of the fact that he had that contact earlier on with Naomi Best, but he's quick off the corner and tries now to get back in the slipstream again through the bomb hole, though this isn't really a part of the circuit you want to run side by side through, nor is Coram, but you can sometimes pop a move up the inside into Murray's corner. It's risky, though. We've seen a lot of drivers getting it wrong here already, including Alex Knox, who is catching these two hand over fist. The 3 of them then 3rd, 4th and 5th positions heading through the final couple of corners together, and Alex Knox will get a very nice double slipstream now down the pit straight. He seemed to carry more speed off the turn than Steele Regan as well. We're on board with Alex now as he closes in on the 4th place driver. Steele Regan, I think, knows he's beat. He moves to the left-hand side of the road. He doesn't defend to the inside. I think he knows that Alex is a bit quicker, and so up the inside he goes. He's going to try and get both of them, is he? Very late on the brakes. Leanne Morton was maybe a bit early on the brakes, and they almost met in the middle. Thankfully, they avoid contact, and Morton hangs on to her 3rd position for the time being. Ahead of this group, by the way, worth pointing out that the lead gap is shrinking. There's no way, without a mistake for Jake Wood, that he's going to be caught here, but Martina Ward has the fastest lap of the race, which is about 4/10 quicker than Jake Wood went on the previous lap, and it's about 7/100 quicker than Jake's previous fastest lap. So Martina Ward with the fastest lap of the race, 1:25.61, is nearly 19 seconds behind, but we are about to start the final lap of the race, I believe. There's a car off there, which I think might have been Richard Toon. Karen Blake headed for the pit lane, presumably with some damage from an incident somewhere. But Jake Wood comes through then to start the final lap of the race, so they're going to get the full 7 laps out of it, which is good news. You turn into Rich's corner then, so you can of Naomi Best here, going slowly through the Wilson hairpin and getting nerfed out of the way rather rudely by Tony Hewitt. That's the second time Naomi's been hit from behind, and this time it was in the middle of a corner. But I don't think that she picked up the throttle quite as quickly, maybe, as car behind expected. And Karen Blake, unfortunately, having all sorts of problems in this one. She's back on the track now, by the way, but we're seeing now the reason that she had to head into pit lane. Well, it's easy for me to laugh because I couldn't do this either, but that was probably not going to be her proudest moment there. Dan Blake, I'm sure, will be telling her exactly what he thinks of that. Down into Rich's corner, she bounces back across the grass and rejoins the race. Right, back to the race leader then. Jake Wood leads the way. He's pulled the gap back out again now over Martina Ward in second position. Leanne Morton third. Alex Knox fourth. Is right with her though. So once we get Wood across the line, maybe check back in on that third place battle because I think Alex Knox might have a chance of getting into P3. There is though no catching Jake Wood. The number 10 car comes across the start finish line. He maintains his 100% winning record. 3 races and 3 victories in the Sunday specials. Crosses the start finish line, and Jake Wood is the victor once again in the Sunday special. Martina Ward is going to come through in second, and Alex Knox has already got past Leanne Morton for third, and he's pulling away to the tune of 0.8 of a second. So it looks like they're going to be our podium drivers. Martina Ward, though, with a really good drive, and again, had she not had some earlier incidents, definitely could have taken the fight to Jake Wood for the race victory. Here's Alex Knox into third place, comes through the final couple of corners, and actually, no, that's a back marker. That's Naomi Best that they've just put a lap down. So I thought for a moment that Steele Regan was catching them up again. Across the line goes Alex Knox, finishes in third position. Another solid podium result for him. Leanne Morton drove well in that one into fourth. So too Steele Regan. Oh, hang on. Steele Regan's just lost a place to Claire Palser. So Claire Palser's got past Steele Regan at the very last corner. That is disappointing, but Claire Palser gets herself into the top 5. Then Steele Regan will be 6th. Not bad, though, for a first effort. Remember, he is only 10 years of age, so that is actually a really, really good effort there to get into the top half of the field. Ellie Hansey should come through in 7th. Here she comes, the number 40 car. Ellie does her way out of the final turn, heads down across the start-finish line, and there she goes, finishes the race in the 7th spot. Each position should be Tony Hewitt. There he is. He had an entertaining race, having started up on the front row of the grid. He ends up in 8th position. So there we go. Everyone has seen the checkered flag. Everyone was running at the end as well, which is good news. So we had no retirements from the race. Really nice drive for our race winners. Now, move in to a warm-up session now between the 2 sessions. My timing screen has already made itself blank, I'm afraid, so I was going to read it down through the order. It's on your screen, I believe, but the results already cleared from my timing screen because we're moving straight into another competitive session. Normally, what we would do at this stage is we change to our second server, and that's not necessary today because we have 2 races on the same server. So the result then on your screen: Jake Wood with the win, Martina Ward second, Alex Knox third, Leanne Morton fourth, and Claire Palser rounding out the top 5. Then it was Steele Regan, Ellie Hansey, Tony Hewitt, Richard Toone, and Naomi Best to round out the top 10, with Esther Quaitmere, Karen Blake, and Jessica Wise at the back of the field. So an entertaining first race then, and I believe we might be able to have a chat with Martina Ward then, who came home in second. Martina, congratulations, back on the podium again. You're making a bit of a habit really of these podiums. You're one of the fastest drivers these days racing in the Sunday specials. Did you enjoy that one?
Oh, that was so much fun. Considering the first time I driven this track was last evening, I didn't really have any expectations, but feels good to finish in second position. I did feel like I was old a little bit after last time. So yeah, I'm really chuffed with this one.
We were all really gutted to see what happened to you in the last one. You were leading the race, you had that contact with a back marker, but it must be really nice for you to be one of the fastest drivers out there. It really shows that you're learning how to do this whole sim racing thing pretty quickly.
Yeah, it feels good. I've always wanted to get into it, so I'm super thankful to you guys for organizing and running this because it's just perfect for a beginner to dip their toes. And who knows, maybe one day I'll be in the regular racing leagues.
Well, I think you've definitely got the speed. It would be nice if you could win one of these races, though, wouldn't it? What do you think your chances are of winning this second race? It's a reversed grid, so you'll be back at the back of the grid, but anything can happen, can't it?
Well, after my contact in this race, I think I came through from 9th or 10th or something. So yeah, I mean it's such a crazy race that anything can happen really. But Jake is super quick. I think he's in a league of his own. So yeah, I'll just try and catch up to him.
Oh, good stuff. We're looking forward to it. Congratulations on the podium, and good luck for race 2.
Thanks very much, Andy. Cheers.
So Martina Ward then on the podium in our first race of the day here for the Sunday special. Another race coming up now, though, and we're already into the warm-up sessions. So the drivers starting to make their way back out on track just to re-familiarise themselves with it, I suppose. Not that I think they'll have forgotten which way it goes from the previous race. And this was really the trouble spot in race 1. We're watching Claire Palser now coming through Coram and Murray's, and it's a really difficult corner, especially on cold tyres. I mean, we saw about 4 or 5 drivers went off there on the first lap because you're coming through that long right-hander. You're heating up the left-hand side tyres a lot more than the right-hand side tyres because the Snetterton 200 layout only has 3 left-handers, and one of them up at the exit of Wilson is easy corner. That doesn't work the tyres too hard. So consequently, your left-hand side tyres are a lot warmer than the right. They're a lot grippier than the rights. As you come out of Coram, you're braking, you're turning right at the same time, which in itself is difficult to do. And then you've got to get off the brake, turn left, get the car slowed down enough to get through Murray's corner. And it's that transition of the weight from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, from the warm tyres to the cold tyres, that really catches people out on that opening lap. And I'm sure a few of them have learnt their lesson after the first race. It was a fairly amusing sight, I'm not going to lie, to see about 4 of the top 5 drivers throwing themselves off through that corner. Naomi Best here coming through it quite tentatively on her first lap of this session. But you can see why it's a tricky place, that when they reconfigured that corner, it was supposed to turn it into a better overtaking opportunity, basically, than the original Russell chicane. But actually, it's still tricky to overtake there. It's just a much harder corner to get right. So it does kind of open up the door for some overtaking, but not the maybe in the way that the circuit designers planned. Now, I believe there's been a slight issue with Martina, and I can't help but feel a bit of responsibility for this, but we're hearing Martina Ward has withdrawn from the session by accident and can't rejoin it. And I wonder whether maybe we distracted her a bit whilst we were chatting away to her. But hopefully she is going to be able to get back in. I'm not too sure how it's going to work. It would be a shame if Martina couldn't get in for our second race. She's running out of time, though, because the session is over now. The warm-up session is done. The feature race, the main race, if you like, is about to get underway. And here is how they'll line up. And it is Jake Wood on pole position. So I thought we were doing a reverse grid, but it's obviously just going to be the in which they finished the previous race. So Jake Wood should have Martina Ward on a row 1 with him, but we reckon Martina might be a non-starter, unfortunately. Alex Knox and Leanne Morton share row 2, then Claire Palser and Steele Regan row 3, Ellie Hansen and Tony Hewitt on the 4th row, Richard Toon and Naomi Best on row 5, then Esther Quaitmere, Karen Blake and Jessica Wise at the back. We've got everyone here from Martina Ward, but we're going to start the race anyway, and we are ready to go with the rev start to rise. Oh, dearie me. Well, that might be a jump start to my very untrained eye. I think Alex Knox might have gone a bit before the lights. He's backing off now to try and make sure he doesn't gain an advantage, but the damage is almost certainly done already. So Alex Knox gets the lead, hands it straight back again to Jake Wood as they turn through the first corner. Jessica Wiser's spin, was that? Coming off the line? Hard to tell what happened there. She still managed to gain a place because she was at the back anyway. Oh, and off has gone Hewitt there. There's another spin for Jessica again. You know, it's Ellie Hansen, the other black car that's gone around through turn number 1. So the 2 black cars together. Oh dear, and that is Steele Regan, Claire Palser. They've had a coming together at turn 1 as well. It's a slightly chaotic start to the second race. Oh, well, I think they were actually separate incidents, weren't they? So Regan's gone around. Oh, yeah, there were about 3 different accidents in the same corner there. Regan had a spin. Then there was contact with Ellie Hansen and a couple of other drivers. And then Claire Palser somehow got involved in that as well. So we'll see another view here of what happened to Jessica Wise at the start. So yeah, just gets a bit sideways there off the line. Hewitt gets into Palser and Hansey. So Tony Hewitt managing to wipe out 2 members of the competition there through turn number 1. And unfortunately, that means that they've all lost quite a bit of time. Oh, but he's had his comeuppance now because he's spun coming out of Nelson. So Tony Hewitt had gained a few places out of all of that. He falls back now down to 8th position where he started. Kel Surprise, it's Jake Wood that leads the way by 5 seconds over Leanne Morton in second, who's just gone past Alex Knox, because I think Alex went off at the final corner, and he's heading into the pit lane now to serve a penalty. So Alex Knox, that was a dramatic first couple of miles of racing, wasn't he? He jumped the start, got the lead, gave it away, ran in second, spun at the final corner, and now he's had to head into the pit lane. Leanne Morton then comes through in second. Naomi Best is a further 10 seconds back in third position, but she's gained 7 spots from where she started, so that wasn't bad going. Richard Toon is in 4th position. Richard was a late arrival. We weren't sure whether he was going to make it tonight, but Richard thankfully has been able to logged on in time. He's the brother of Alan Toon. It's his second event, and he's been receiving some coaching from Roger Morton. So, again, Roger, a pretty rapid driver who's been helping Richard Toon along. 26-year-old who is relatively new to this whole sim racing business, but getting quicker all the time. He's running 4th place at the moment. Claire Palser is 5th, which is where she started, and Esther Quaitmere was 6th, but Alex Knox already starting to pick up positions again after that pit lane visit for the penalty. He's into 6th place now. Around has gone Karen Blake, not for the first time. We didn't see how that happened on this occasion going through Rich's corner. That drops her back down into 11th position. It's rather a funky livery on that car. Oh, so that's Regan off again with Ellie Hansey. I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah, Ellie Hansey. So these two came together on the start of the race. On board with Hansey, she loses it, and I bet Regan had nowhere to go. Yeah, runs into her, and Karen Blake, in fairness, went off in avoidance, really. So I take that back. Karen didn't make a mistake as such. She just had to try and avoid the contact in front of her. And ironically, the two that made the contact and caused her to spin get away before her. So the 2 cars that tangled could continue their battle with Steele Regan now still behind Ellie Hansey, as you can see, as they head through the bomb hole now. Back to live pictures again. 8th and 9th positions, these two. Put their way through Cora. Oh, Ellie's sideways again. As soon as you run offline, you get onto the dirty side of the road, and there's far less grip out there. So the car does start to slide and get a bit sideways, and you pick that dirt up on the tyres, and then that means you've got less grip for the next few corners as well. Palser's got plenty of grip though. She's in 4th position right now. Her lap times are for some reason not showing on my timing screen, but she's 7.5 seconds behind Naomi Best, and I think she's lapping a bit quicker because the gap's coming down by the corner, so she might be able to get onto the podium before the end of the race. Down the straight they go towards Brundle and Nelson, and Palser is, I believe, yeah. So I think the reason I'm just being told now that the timing screen is not showing her lap times is because she may possibly have had lap times disallowed. So if you run off the track, then which she's about to do again now, I think. Oh, almost saved it. Oh no, actually half spin. No, and then she gets on the gas and loses it. But if you run off the track and gain an advantage, then you will have lap times disallowed. So I think that might be why her times aren't registering. Unfortunate that spin, because she was, as I said, catching Naomi Best in front. Claire Palser joins, but Alex Knox, who was chasing her down, has just had a moment of his own, I think, through Brundle and Nelson. So actually, instead of coming down between Palser and Knox, has stabilised pretty much where it was. Alex Knox turns into the final couple of corners as well. There's Esther Quaitmere. She's running 8th, and this is quite a nice battle actually with Karen Blake that she's having. Karen Blake we should see just there, about a second behind. But I think Karen is catching Quaitmere. Yeah, previous lap for Karen was a lot quicker, although Esther, I think, went off the road. On board then with the mother of the reigning PDC Racing League champion, Dan Blake. Through Coram Corner. Let's see how she attacks this final turn. Decent line, actually. Middle of the road into Murray's. Makes it nice and slow, gentle on the throttle, but she carried a bit more speed out of there than Esther did. And they're not a million miles behind Tony Hewitt and Steele Regan either. Regan has really separated himself from Ellie Hansey now. Hansey's down in 10th, still Regan's in 7th, so there's something else that's happened to Ellie Hansey, I think, over the last lap or so. Karen then into Riches. Comes in a bit early there, make sure she hooks up the first apex, but carrying a bit more speed through there, but she's still keeping pace with the number 33 car in front. Chase for 6th now, as well as Steele Regan's gone past the off-tracking Tony Hewitt. And there you can see Hewitt off to the left-hand side of the road, so Quakemere and Blake will also take advantage of that to move into 7th and 8th respectively. And Karen Blake getting a bit excited now because she can see a chance to break into that 7th position as well now. Got a bit sideways coming off the left-hander, but she's quicker down the straights, look. Better through the gears into and Nelson. She's about to go now. Who's bravest on the brakes? We're on board with Karen Blake. Esther Quakemere to our right, and Blake is going through, I think, on the inside. As long as she stops the car, she'll go through, and she does. Nice move there into the complex. That's a tricky place to execute an overtake, but she has gone through now. So Karen Blake into 7th, Quakemere 8th, and Tony Hewitt once again on a bit of a recovery drive now behind, as he is running in 9th spot. By my side for 3rd place, so Claire Palser has caught Naomi Best, because Best has just had an off, I think, on that previous lap. She was a whole 8 seconds slower than Claire Palser on the previous lap, so I think there was definitely some sort of a drama there for Naomi, and Claire Palser is now onto the podium in the number 9 car. And far back, well, she's 21 seconds behind Leanne Morton, so that might be as good as it gets, but still, this has been a really solid drive from Claire. She just needs to cool now. There's just over 2 minutes still to go in the race, and they've got time for another couple of laps. We should get the full 7 laps in again here in this feature race, I reckon. The race leader Jake Wood is just completing his 5th lap of the race, so 2 more laps to go. Jessica Wise, unfortunately, has had a spin. She's already a couple of laps down, or a lap down, I should say, and in 11th position, but she's just had a rotation coming out to the final corner. Then has to avoid the recovering Ellie Hansey, and they bang wheels coming down the straight. Hansey had her own moments, I think, and these two are fighting for 10th position, so this is quite an important scrap to try and break into that top 10, and Ellie Hansey gets into the back of Jessica Wise into Riches, and then goes off in sympathy as well. Jessica Wise, though, I think came out of that worse, definitely was in the barriers on the right-hand side. She's rejoined, though, didn't lose too much time. She's only a couple of seconds behind Ellie, so we'll see whether she can catch back up again over the remaining lap and a half or so that they've still got left. Onto the back straight they go. Alex Knox has now closed in on Naomi Best, and now what's happened to Palser? Palser's dropped back behind them again. Looks, so it's 3 cars together for 3rd. Knox is 3rd, or he's about to go 3rd anyway, up the inside of Naomi Best, and Claire Palser's got to do it all over again. She's gone off the road into dropped down into 5th position, slides through and gets sideways, and that will definitely catch the attention of Naomi and Claire behind him as they try to avoid running into him. And he pulls over to the inside to defend. This is a good little race going on between these 3, actually. Oh, Naomi's late on the brakes. They're all late on the brakes. What a move by Claire Palser. I don't think she meant to do that, but she was that much later on the brakes than the cars in front. She kind of had no choice but to go to the inside, and now she's got herself the slipstream. On board here with Claire Palser into the hairpin. Look at that. Oh, there was contact, in fairness, but only a bit, and she managed to squeeze her way through into 4th, and she's now going for 3rd position, and I can see on the timing screen she might have moved ahead of Alex Knox. I think she has. Through onto the last lap goes Jake Wood. 2nd place for Leanne Morton, and there in 3rd is Palser. So Claire Palser's got herself into 3rd. Alex Knox down to 4th. Now, don't go off again, Claire, because you've worked doubly hard now to get this podium, but you're really going to have to work hard to keep the former Formula Ford 1600 racer Alex Knox behind you. Naomi Best rounding out the top 5 with Steele Regan in 6th at the moment, and Karen Blake, the last driver on the lead lap, in at 7th, and I think she should stay on the lead lap because we're watching the race leader now, Jake Wood, just going through Brundle and Nelson. You caught a glimpse there of Karen Blake, who's a couple of seconds in front, so I think she should maintain her position on the lead lap because this is the final lap of the race now, and it's going to be a 4th win from 4 Sunday special races now between the for Jake Wood, and 3 different circuits that we've had these races at. It's fair to say he's been a bit fortunate maybe that Martina Ward wasn't able to take up her front row starting position, because we could have had a good battle between the two, I think, in this one. Jake Wood, nonetheless, is going to come through to take the race victory once again. He will not quite catch Karen Blake to put a lap on her. So Jake Wood crosses the start-finish line, wins the 2nd Sunday special, the feature race here from the Snetterton 200 circuit. Leanne Morton here coming through Brundle and Nelson S's is in 2nd position, a fairly distant 2nd place, but still she's had actually a really quiet race. Those top 2 drivers, we haven't seen much of them because they've been so far ahead of everybody else, and they haven't really done anything of interest, which is kind of a good thing because that means they haven't been off the road, they haven't had a spin, they haven't hit anything, they haven't got a penalty, and they've just sort of coasted around to a really good top 2 position for the pair of them. I say coasted, they've both been pushing hard. Lap times for Leanne Morton have been pretty decent, actually. 1 minute 30s. Not as fast as some of the drivers behind her, but more consistent. And that is the key in a race full of inexperienced drivers. If you can stay on the track and they can't, good chance you'll be able to hold on. Oh, no. Well, now, disappointed for Claire Palser here, but well done to Alex Knox. He's got himself back into third. Claire Palser's been off again on the final lap. I was about to say that she was pulling away from Knox. She was over a second clear about half a lap ago, but Alex Knox will come through to take a well-deserved third position, which is exactly where he started. He didn't spend the whole race there. Palser will be a bit miffed, I think, to end up in fourth, but she really caught our attention in that race. A great performance for Claire. She's in fourth place. Naomi Best is going to be fifth. Steele Regan will be sixth. That was a lapped car there in amongst them, so there's Steele Regan in the number 60 car coming through in sixth position. Karen Blake will be seventh, although she's some way back. And no, she's not actually. There she is. She wasn't that far behind Steele Regan in the end. That's a good final lap for Karen Blake as well. A 1:32.3 is only a second or so off her personal best. Tony Hewitt's already seen the checkered flag, so he's in eighth. And the rest filing in behind. So congratulations to Jake Wood. That was another brilliant drive there from Jake. Leanne Morton in second. Alex Knox to round out the podium finishers. And if we can see the results now, Claire Palser in fourth, Naomi Best fifth, Steele Regan sixth, Karen Blake in seventh, and then the first car 1 lap time was down was Tony Hewitt, Esther Quaitmere in ninth, Jessica Wise in 10th, and Ellie Hansen in 11th place. They had a few stories to tell after that race, but Jessica will be quite glad to have beaten Ellie, I think, because she will receive again some contact from Ellie in the latter stages. Richard Toon gets 12th position, and Martina Ward, unfortunately, a non-starter after some connection issues, but again, a case of what could have been really for Martina. We know that she had the pace to win races. It just hasn't quite turned out in the end. So congratulations then to our podium finishers. We already have Leanne Morton, excuse me, I believe, who is waiting to have a chat with us. We'll see if anybody else turns up. Alex Knox chat with last time as well, so hopefully he'll make his way over to the comms box and we'll be able to have a word. In the meantime, let me remind you that the main PDC Racing League will be coming to its thrilling conclusion on Friday night, 8 p.m. UK time. We've got a four-way championship battle, and it's going right down to those final two races at the Charlotte Roval. So make sure you tune in to Yearone Racing TV on Friday, because that race, or those pair of races from the Charlotte Roval, are going to be really, really tense, as some really high-quality drivers as well are fighting for that championship victory. It's going to all take place live here on Yearone Racing TV. I'm sure many of the drivers that we've seen racing today will be cheering on their friends and family members, or as they take to the centre stage, if you like, PDC Racing League. Right, our race winner Jake Wood has now joined us on the podium. Our race winner in all four races that we've had so far in the Sunday special. Jake Wood, congratulations! Another dominant race win there, and you have been quite literally impossible to beat so far. Well done.
Thank you. A good race. Yeah.
Had it pretty easy, really, didn't you? You got a good start from pole position, and then sort of got your head down and kept setting fastest laps.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of relax, let the car do what it wants around the corners.
You've really taken to this as well quite quickly. Did you have a lot of experience on iRacing before these Sunday special races?
Well, not really on iRacing, but I just like to race on my PS and all that. So
it's a point that I've made quite a lot in the past to professional racing drivers and people in the real world motorsport industry who don't really understand just how accurate video games and things are these days. But I think you're living proof of the fact that even if you've just got yourself a normal games console, a PlayStation or an Xbox or something, you can really learn quite a lot from those things, can't you?
Yeah, like I said, I've had my PS for years now and just learn new things on it, really.
So you're dominating these Sunday special races. The main question now is, when will we see you racing in the PDC Racing League? Because I think you've got a few of those drivers worried already.
Definitely next week. Definitely. Ready to beat my dad.
Oh, well, there you go. That's the challenge set down then already, isn't it? Well, congratulations, Jake. Well done on the race wins, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Stuff. So, Jake Wood, our race winner, once again in the PDC Racing League Sunday specials. Now, Leanne Morton, I think, can also join us now for a chat. Leanne came home in second position in that race at the wheel of the number 92 car, Leanne Morton, who is Roger Morton's partner, Leanne, we've had you close to the podium in the past, but you had really a solid and fairly uneventful race, actually, for second place, which is probably just the way you like it.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I like this track. It's pretty good.
Isn't it? It's flowing as well, but there are some quite tricky corners. That last corner in particular was catching a few people out earlier on.
Yeah, it was for me in practice, I can say.
What's been the sort of hardest thing about learning the car and learning the track? Is there a particular area of the track that you've really had to work on?
Probably the tight corners. The 2 tight corners that you have to go down in first for.
Is that because of the down changing, the brake bias? What's been the main problem?
Probably the brakes. I end up putting them on too early or too late.
It's a fine balance, isn't it? And it's one of those things that I think, watching from home, we kind of think, oh, it's easy. You just learn where to hit the brakes and you hit the brakes there. But have you sort of gained even more appreciation now for just how hard this racing driver business is?
Definitely, yeah.
Well done on the podium anyway. Second place finish, a race win next time maybe?
Maybe.
We'll wait and see how you get on. Congratulations, though, on second place for Leanne Morton. And do we have our third place finisher with us? I don't think Alex Knox has made it here. So Naomi Best, though. I think we'll have a chat with Naomi, shall we then? Who's the other driver that has a way to the podium. Well, Naomi, not on the podium this time, but you got a top 5, and it was an eventful couple of races for you as well. Can't hear Naomi, unfortunately. We'll try that again. Naomi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
That's more like it. So well done. Another top 5 there, and you were right in the thick of all of the action, really, weren't you?
Yeah, it was good fun.
More fun that way, isn't it, really? You don't want to be winning the races by 20 seconds. That's just boring, isn't it?
I was going to say, most of the race I wasn't really doing much. Everyone seemed to be the opposite side of the track to me. It was the same in practice. But, by the end, I think was it Claire Pulsar I was racing a lot of the time?
That's right.
She kept spinning in front of me. I'm like, yeah, get past, yeah.
Do you find that when something like that happens, you kind of get a bit giddy and excited, and that's kind of when your mistakes come as well? You weren't the only one, but it's difficult sometimes, isn't it, to keep you cool?
Oh yeah, definitely. If they make a mistake in front of you, then you have to change where you're braking. And obviously, I'm not very good at this. I haven't done this many times, so I'm like, if I don't brake in the place I've been practicing, then it all goes out the window, and I don't really know what to do. So yeah, I make a few mistakes when they make mistakes in front of me, but did quite well. Quite happy.
No, absolutely. You're the top 5, and you were one of the 5 fastest drivers, I think, all day. So is this kind of something you think you'll stick to now? Do you think you've got the potential to get even quicker?
Who knows? I mean, my husband would quite like me to be doing it, but he's usually on the computer, so I don't know when I'd get the chance. But yeah, I haven't really done it before. I did it a couple of weeks ago. That was the first time I've really done any of this sort of racing. So I don't know.
It's great to hear, though. And again, you're not the only one that's saying a similar sort of thing. You've not done much of this in the past, but I can hear the enthusiasm in all of your voices. You're all really enjoying this, and it's something that really only because of the current circumstances we're in that you're now getting the chance to have a go at, and it's really nice to see how much you're all enjoying it.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to be a part of. It's nice.
Absolutely, and we're very, very happy to have you all on board, and hopefully for our next Sunday special, you'll be on that podium yourself.
We'll see.
Like the confidence, kind of.
Yeah.
Well done on the top 5
more
anyway.
practice.
Yeah, go away and practice now. We'll see you.
Definitely.
Well done.
Thank you.
Naomi Best then gets herself into the top 5. Our podium finishers: Jake Wood with another victory, Leanne Morton second. Alex Knox gets himself on the podium. There's no sign of Alex, though, so I think that might be we have time for, but it's been another really entertaining afternoon of racing for the Sunday special of the PDC Racing League. As I said, there's lots more racing action coming your way on Yearone Racing TV in the next week or so, and be sure to head over to their website and social media pages all of the information. Tomorrow night is the championship finale of the British Formula 4 iRacing Trophy, 7:30 p.m. UK time. We go live for that. Again, a championship battle between 2 teammates, Chris Lulham and Luke Browning, going down to the final 2 races on the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. Wednesday night, the Power Max Racing E-Series. That's another really real highlight of the Yearone Racing TV schedule. That is also starting to get into the second half of the season now. They had a week off last week, but they're back racing again on Wednesday. And then, as I said, Friday night, 8 p.m. UK time, the PDC Racing League comes to its thrilling conclusion at the Charlotte Roval, with multiple drivers still in realistic contention to win the championship. It really could be any one of 3 or 4 drivers that lifts the crown. Dan Blake is one of those drivers, the reigning champion. We saw his mother racing today. Alex Knox's son, Chris, will also be in championship contention. So be sure to keep an eye on the Yearone Racing TV schedule. We'll see you all, hopefully, tomorrow night for the next live event, the British Formula 4 iRacing Trophy. Hello, that is all we have time for. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you to all of the drivers as well for being good sports, getting stuck in and enjoying themselves out there on the track. It's been fascinating to see some of them getting quicker and quicker and more competitive with each other as each race goes on. We'll keep you posted as well over the next few weeks as to when the next Sunday special race event might well be. Thank you to Pip and Gavin at PDC for putting the whole thing together. Thanks to Graham at Yearone Racing TV for his sterling work as our producer and camera operator as well. We'll all be back in action again tomorrow night for British Formula 4 action. We hope to see you all then. For now, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and see you again very soon on Yearone Racing TV.